You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Welcome everyone to episode 22 of MC True Long Island Story. I'm your host, the internet champion, always ready to crack open a major PBR stronger seltzer. Matt Cardone.
And I'm with you, producer of the show, Smart Mark Sterling Esquire. Cheers, buddy. I got a lime today. PBR, presenting sponsors here on MC True Long Island Story.
And Mark, I'm going to give you a little cheers for selling out of your micro brawlers, baby.
Oh, thanks. Hey, we talked about it on the show. What a plug right there.
Look at this. I got mine in the mail, and I didn't have to pay. Perks of being the owner of Major Pod Network.
Well, I'll tell you right, this is not the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, but you told me that shipping the brawlers was the most miserable thing you've ever done. Since they've changed, it's a breeze. So you could do it again. They changed packaging.
Well, we will be doing it again, but Kinnick is doing it. If you listen to the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, and I'm sure you do, we have a bunch of micro brawlers coming out. I'm not going to reveal everybody. I will say there is a $1,000 Broski, so new mold Matt, Brian with a new mold in his mask, a new mold of Smart Mark in his suit, and we have announced a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So if you're a fan of this show, of the old YouTube show, you might need this. The first ever Bob Cardona, Zach's dad, Matt's dad figure, micro brawler, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, limited edition, only 500 made, but not 500 for sale.
I love it. It's actually it's technically the first mass-produced action figure with a True Long Island Story character other than you.
That has not had a figure before, yes.
Right, yeah. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for the support. 4-minute sellout. It would have been probably quicker if the site didn't crash, but I appreciate that. So
fatal error, baby.
Yeah, it was a website in work or whatever it was. All right, let's get into good housekeeping here. Gihim on YouTube says there was a signing before the Sydney night started with Zach and Dolph, and it was pretty cool meeting you there and seeing the Internet Championship close up. Thanks, Zach/Matt. So you did a signing and you brought your Internet Championship with you.
I have zero memory of that. Sounds about right. I mean, if it's before the show at the building, there's so many times like, all right, Zach, you have a meet and greet. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
It'd be like in the building.
In the building.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you would, if you're on an overseas tour, they'd have you set up. But like, you're not getting paid extra for these.
Yeah.
I always loved it. I love meeting the fans, especially around this time. This is when I really got the feedback. So I love stuff like this.
Yeah.
I always loved meeting the fans, like Access, even until like the year we got released. Like I loved going. I loved interacting with the fans because that's what, brought me to the dance. Have you been to the dance, Mark?
I've been to the dance. Boogeyman's been to the dance. I forgot my light. I wasn't ready. There we go. All right. Benjamin King says, watching Mark butcher the names of Australian cities. Apparently, I butchered Melbourne and Brisbane. I think Brisbane is Brisbane. He said it makes him laugh. Are you serious, bro?
That's not the Are You Serious, Bro tweet of the week. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, here's a cool one, dude. We're probably spoiling it, but Clover G wrote, still have the original email I sent to knowyourbro@hotmail.com.
Fun fact, I tried to get in, said invalid email address.
So here's the right answers. Number 1, Scott Stanford in episode 4, Big O in episode 5, Zach's dad in episode 5. And then the second question, the ingredients to Long Island Iced Tea cocktail is rum, vodka, tequila, soda, and protein.
Oh my God, disgusting.
3, first ever Broski of the week with CM Punk. 4, Zack Ryder was eating Frosted Flakes and Primo was eating Cocoa Rice Krispies. 5, Dolph Ziggler and Peter Venkman stand mysteriously in the background. Woo, woo, woo. You know it, bro. Seen every episode of Z-Trail Island Story. Hope I win. I knew I kept this email for a reason. So Clover G wrote an email in.
I don't think he won because I think that the answer was what were they doing in every shot.
Oh, so he didn't actually have the right answers.
Yeah, that was very generic.
Right. Well, good job, Clover G. Thanks for sending it in. Do you have any follow-up from last week, episode 21?
A couple things. I checked. Remember, I was talking about the Nexus, the new Nexus. I was checking my emails. So listen to this. It was Trevor Potter from Ringside Collectibles who sent me the initial email about a year or two ago saying that some ex-WWE writers came in and were like buying merch, and they told him that I was going to lead the new Nexus, like new. And that's kind of what was being set up with the Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga, and then nothing happened. So if anybody's listening to the show, I'm not saying you have to be that writer or any writer who saved that, whatever that was, June-ish, early July-ish episode of Raw. I would love to see that initial draft if you got it.
Wow. Because
that was news to me then. And looking back, it makes sense because why else would I come out on Raw and say something to McGillicuddy and Otunga?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Another thing that was kind of follow-up, we were talking about last week, like the poll for the shirts.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going through my emails. I'm still trying to find the initial shirts WWE pitched me on. Like, that's how bad they were.
Right.
I loaded up my old computer today with the crack screen and everything, my 2011 computer. I searched every, document, every file on my computer. It wasn't there. I went through my emails. It wasn't there. I did find the original poll, and you click the link, and it's still up there. Maybe I'll send you a picture. We can put it on the screen right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't show you the pictures of the shirts, but it shows you like what won. It's still active. And I'm not going to say who my source is in the merchandise shop department, but he's trying to call in a favor and track down because they got to have these files somewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I was able to find emails with like pitches for like my next shirt and my shirt after that. Because usually they present you like 4 or 5 shirts. Mm-hmm. So interesting things I did find. I don't want to skip ahead. So I'll just get it out of the way right now, and we will probably come up with it or talk about it. 6/29/11 is the date of the file where they show me the Take Care, Spike Your Hair shirt. Where it's officially, that's the name of the file.
Okay.
So I'm not even wearing it in these episodes. So I know it's coming, but haven't revealed it yet.
Okay,
right?
That's cool. Yeah.
Also, 7/5/11 is where I see the Broski headband for the first time, and you'll see the episode. I'm wearing one, but not the shop one. I get a heads up they're making it, so I get my gear guy to make it, and you'll see in this episode all gear that's going to go with my shirt because I want to this is out of the Cena playbook. You come out, you want everything to match. Cena was so good at that.
Right. Okay. Hat, shirt, for sure. Okay, that's cool.
And
I was going to ask you about that.
Also, I found this 7/5/11, the Wildcat belts render artwork for the new internet title, which must be coming any week.
Right, and we'll talk about that in great detail, where that came from, how you got it, all that stuff.
Yes.
Coming up soon. All right, we want to move on here?
That's all I got.
All right, cool. This is a loaded week with tweets. A couple funny ones, some interesting ones, some I need to ask questions about. June 13th, winners of the Know Your Bro game will be revealed tomorrow. Check out episode 21 of Z-Trail Island Story for details. So, you didn't reveal
the winners.
What?
I didn't say the winners.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm confused.
I don't know.
Remember? Maybe it's next week, or did you just do it on the internet?
Don't know.
Oh, well, if it's not in next week's show, then you just did it on the internet.
Maybe I did.
Matt Cardona.
And you know what? Maybe this is also the answer. Maybe no one got the answers right.
Okay. And you were picking 10 people that got them right.
And obviously that person who just sent you that did not get all the answers right.
Well, that person for years thought he sent all the right answers. And we just blew him up. July 8th. So I'm one of Booker T's Fave 5. I can dig that, sucker. So he must have been talking about you or something.
I love Booker T. Booker T is somebody who, it's funny because Brian and I talked about this. If you listen to the Major Wrestling podcast, and you listen to the Patreon episodes, we were talking about Bret Hart. And Bret Hart was one of the first guys that we saw from like tag team to Intercontinental to world champion. Booker T2, tag team champ, Harlem Heat, TV champ, and then eventually world champ. So it was cool to be a part and grow up and see his not only evolution as a character, but like evolution from tag team guy to main event player.
Hell yeah. Yeah, one of my favorites, for sure. July 11th, Vince McMahon knows I exist, and I think that you tweeted that because of the sign of the week. We'll
talk about that later, yeah.
We'll talk about that. July 9th, at the beach with @M_Chiappetta and the guy, uh-oh, it's Big O, tossed off the boardwalk. Woo, woo, woo. You know
That's
it.
Anthony LaRocca.
Anthony LaRocca. Okay. July 12th, driving back to Long Island from Boston, slept in my car last night, real McFoley style. What's the deal there?
Okay, so if I recall, Boston, maybe you'll talk about it. Do I wrestle Santino on Superstars?
Yes.
Okay. I vividly remember the day before. So this is a Sunday. So typically, you fly out on Sunday.
Yep.
Okay. In Long Beach, I'm sure it's all over the place. Where I lived in Long Beach, it was a big thing, Sunday Fun Day, especially in the summertime.
Yep.
But I was never around on Sundays. I'm either on the road doing live events or I leave on Sunday. So in this particular case, I'm able to drive to Boston the next day. I can do Sunday Fun Day.
Oh, yeah.
I remember going to this place called Cabana, drinking margaritas, and the writer for my segment calls me up, which they don't always do, but sometimes they do. And he tells me I'm wrestling Santino. And like I remember just like, not that it's his decision by any means. He's just telling me, and now he's a big time deal in WWE. Then he was not,
Who was
it? He's stuck telling Zack Ryder what he's doing, right?
Okay.
And I remember I was so mad, like, why are we going against the grain here? Like, I'm clearly like a babyface.
Right.
Why are we going backwards here? Like, why am I wrestling Santino, the ultimate babyface?
Yes.
Like, why are we doing this? It's like we have something. And I understand if you don't want to go with it, but now you're going against it deliberately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems like it was somebody who, or they just weren't thinking, or somebody forgot, or whatever the heck. Oh, he's a babyface.
I just think at this time I was still not on their radar.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But what was with the sleeping in the car? But why would you sleep in a car?
So that particular night, driving home from Boston, I was just so tired driving home. It's like 4 or 5 hours. So I probably pulled over at a rest stop or McDonald's and just slept in the car for a little bit.
Yeah, I've done that.
I would do that all the time because I'm a classic like dozer offer in the car, and that is not safe.
Right, for sure.
So I would always pull over, take a little power nap, and get ready, and then go. I wasn't being cheap like McFoley style.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which I have done before also.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's unpack that. So rather than pay for the hotel, you might show up, $300 for a hotel, and then you're like, I'll just sleep in my car for a couple hours?
It all depends. Like, I would never, like, mid-loop do that. But, let's say Raw's Monday night, you do Raw, you go get something to eat. Now it's like 12 o'clock. You got to be, depending on when your flight is, you got to be up in 3 or 4 hours. Am I really going to spend $100 on a hotel or just sleep in the car?
100%. Drive to the hotel, airport or whatever.
I've done it a bunch of times.
Makes total sense.
Just pull that seat all the way back.
Hell yeah. All right. Okay, where are we? July 9th. I asked Chiappetta to buy me a chocolate milk. He bought me a Yoo-Hoo. Are you serious, bro? What's the deal? You don't think Yoo-Hoo is a chocolate milk?
It's not. Yoo-Hoo is like a chocolate like drink. And Nesquik or chocolate milk I would sometimes use as like protein. Like there's no like protein in Yoo-Hoo.
Yoo-Hoo's just all sugar and
it's like
bullshit.
A chocolate water.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? You never had a Yoo-Hoo? I mean, I love the taste of Yoo-Hoo.
I had it when I was a kid, but yeah. Ryan Nemeth tweeted, hey, Zack Ryder, this fan wearing a woo headband was spotted at the FCW Summer Slamorama tour in Eustis, Florida, and he puts a picture, and you're seeing that picture right now on the screen It's a very young Hollywood hunk, Ryan Nemeth from AEW.
Oh, wow.
With a little fan wearing a Zack Ryder headband.
That's
I just thought
cool.
that was funny. And you wrote back, well, he knows it.
There you go.
Were you friends with him through Dolph?
Yeah, I don't remember what WrestleMania was. Maybe the one before. It's like right before he gets signed to WWE. Ziggler brings him to WrestleMania, and like I hang out with him at the after party and stuff like that.
Got it.
I still talk to him to this day every once in a while.
All right, Broski, let's get the Broski of the week. But first, let's hear a little word from our sponsors.
The Major Pod Network has a new tag team partner, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Everybody needs some liquid courage to make their own weekly purchases. Scratch that figure itch and scratch that PBR itch.
Get your PBR beer, get your PBR hard coffee, and get your PBR stronger seltzer.
8%? If you're listening to this, you're already a major mark. Now it's time to become a major PBR mark.
Use the hashtag MajorPBR and post your pictures and videos of you major marking out.
Pabst Blue Ribbon and the Major Pod Network, the new tag team champions of the world.
Of the world!
But we're definitely not getting any new figures from Mattel.
All right, Broski of the week.
The Broski of the week.
What do we got?
Broski of the week. All you got to do, I know it sounds confusing, find the pinned tweet. So if you go to Twitter at the Matt Cardona, it's the first tweet. It's the pinned tweet, right? Quote tweet that. And in that quote tweet, use the screenshot that you took of your, actually, I guess it is kind of confusing. So first you got to go to iTunes, leave a review, screenshot it. Then when you quote tweet it, use that picture of the screenshot and use the hashtag Broski of the week. You got to follow those rules. And if you do it, you will get this 8x10 signed, available on MattCardonaMerch.com. You will get the Broski of the Week headband, available on MattCardonaMerch.com. And you will get the exclusive Broski of the Week sticker, not available anywhere. So the Broski of the Week this week is Patrick Nielsen at Pat J. Nielsen. First, he writes, come on, the Matt Cardona. I'm only going to try this like 70 more times. I need to be hashtag Broski of the Week. Well, Patty, it's your lucky day.
You did it. Congrats.
If you're a fan of Zach, Z-A-C-K, not Z-A-C-H, thank you, Ryder, Matt Cardona, pro wrestling, or simply the story of someone working towards their dream, then this snackable podcast is for you. Cardona's conversations on the Ryder Revolution are a must listen as he details his journey to get over a fence, find his way off of the back burner of the stove, and onto our TV screens every week. I loved watching Z, the groundbreaking web series, every week a decade ago, and I can't wait to hear this podcast every week now. Matt and Smart Mark make this the perfect companion piece to Zach's career at the time, as well as wrestling at the time. Another great part is the chance to be Broski of the Week all over again. Check out this podcast or anything else on the Major Pod Network. You won't be disappointed. I'm serious, bro. Here's hoping that Matt learns that from Zach's mistakes and allows himself to get pushed. WWWYKI. Well, that was a great review, Pat.
Put some thought into it.
Yeah, you're the Broski of the Week. Couple things to unpack here. Majorland, the podcast with Chelsea Green, I tell her it's snackable. She didn't understand what that meant. I had to explain it to her.
Right.
Also, we're doing something on Majorland. By the way, check it out on the Major Pod Network. We're doing something almost like a King of the Ring, but of our favorite park rides. And I was trying to think of a name for the tournament. And I said that someone suggested the Ryder Revolution. Like, get it? And she didn't get it because she never heard of the original Ryder Revolution. So I had to explain that to her. And then it's like Ryder, like a rider in a ride, not like Zack Ryder. She didn't get it.
Babe, I started a revolution, okay? Babe.
That's right. So you're the Broski of the Week. Congrats. This past week, speaking of wrestling shows, because I do still wrestle, Bare Minimum Brian and I, we teamed up. We took on the Headbangers and the Awakening, a.k.a. the Ascension. Hell of a match. But Brian, he dropped down. He dropped down Sid Justice style to Hogan, gave me the finger. I lost the match. And now this week, You know, I'm hoping, I'm praying somehow, some way that I get a match with him. I get my hands on him at Slammiversary, Impact Slammiversary. But we'll see. So watch Impact on Access TV to find out. And then Lariato Pro, I teamed up with Luther and Luke Gallows, a big 6-man. We have a great vlog coming to the Major Pod Network YouTube channel. And somebody made a Broski of the Week sign and said, dude, if you use this sign and follow the rules, maybe he'll be Broski of the Week next week. So we'll find out.
That's great. I love that. That's perfect. All right. 10 years ago, 7-11-11, Zack Ryder defeats Santino Marella. I tried to find footage of this, but it's in 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So it was a quick one. Superstars episode number 118.
2 minutes?
2 minutes and 58 seconds. So 3 minutes. A 3-minute match.
I mean, maybe if it's like a 6-minute match, 2 entrances, maybe.
Yeah.
Those suck, dude.
Yeah.
They suck.
I know. It's crazy. You know, when I'm looking at the Raws back then, I just feel like, you know, wrestling is changed for the better nowadays where you get some lengthy matches on a show. I mean, I look at these Raw results, and the longest match on a Raw might be 4 minutes and 50 seconds. That is insane.
Yeah.
It's a wrestling show.
I hated the 1-segment Superstars match. I love the 2-segment Superstars match.
Right.
But on the flip side, I didn't necessarily like the 2-segment Raw match, only because during like the 3 minutes, it's like you're still working, but none of it's on TV, so it's very confusing.
I know what you mean.
I'd rather a 2-segment match than a 1-segment match. You know,
Right.
Of course, I want more time the better. But I hated that commercial break where it was like the footage went to die.
Yep.
You know, as opposed to on like Superstars, the commercial break is a break spot, and then you come back and they pretend that you did something.
Right.
But obviously, I'd rather have a 2-segment match on Raw than on Superstars because no one's going to see it.
For sure. 100%. Okay, so on Raw, 2 weeks after unleashing one of the most scathing, groundbreaking rants in WWE history, the Second City Savior returns to Raw. A return made possible thanks to an unlikely source, the WWE Champion John Cena, Punk's longtime nemesis and opponent on Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And he argued with McMahon about the decision to suspend Punk for the epic tirade, and the WWE chairman grudgingly relented and agreed to reinstate the holier-than-thou superstar under one condition: if Punk prevails on Sunday and leaves with the WWE title, Cena will be fired. Also, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre with Vicky Guerrero versus The Big Show in a handicap match. And then we haven't talked about it in a while. Over on TNA, Rob Van Dam is beating Bully Ray in 4 minutes. Velvet Sky is defeating ODB in 5 minutes. And in the main event, Gunner and Mr. Anderson defeat Eric Young and Sting in 5 minutes. So, interesting. Everybody's still wrestling, kind of.
I was not watching TNA at the time. Did TNA go head-to-head with Raw yet? Did that already happen?
I don't remember when they went head-to-head. But, Sting, Bully Ray.
What's really crazy is that, like, the ratings for TNA then are better than the Raw ratings now.
Oh.
I mean, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty damn sure they are.
My God. I mean, early on when we were talking about this, we're talking about, Impact, results, 2011. We were talking about this early on in the thing. Here we go. July 14th with a rating of, 1.3, which is Raw had 1.4 the other day.
So it's similar.
Anyway. Very interesting. And, hey, AEW is a very, similar rating structure now, but TV is just totally different.
Right.
Okay. Episode 21. Here's
22.
something I noticed.
22, you said.
22, sorry. The sound is really bad.
That's on here. I got weird sound. That's the first note I got.
It's like, I think you probably, here's my guess. And this is my guess from being your sound producer for the last 3 years. You probably had like a fan going. It sounded
Didn't
like
have a fan.
It sounded like
have a fan, so I don't. Maybe like the AC, the apartment that I was living in at the time.
Yeah,
like the AC. I want to say it was automatic, but now that I'm saying that, I don't know if it was.
Well, it was some sort of white noise, like heavy white noise. But anyway, It's not there every week. One of the things in the open is you got a little stop motion cartoon of your character, your figure holding up the internet championship.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out if I had made that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. If you did.
And if you notice, I'm trying to match the figure exactly with what I'm wearing.
Yes. Now, here's my question. We kind of talked about this. I'm not sure. So at this point, you could likely make the show better quality. Like you could have maybe somebody edit it. You could, who
would I have edit it?
Maybe what's that?
Who would I have? No,
I don't know. You could have. I'm just saying. Like theoretically, you're like, this is going really well. You could have bet on yourself in a way of hiring an editor or purchasing a better camera or something. There's a lot of things that you could have done. So here's my question. Were you aware of the fact that shooting it and doing it all yourself and keeping it amateur-ish?
That was the charm of the show.
Okay. That was my question.
Me paying, first of all, I wasn't making enough money to pay somebody.
Yep.
Okay. And like now, everyone can edit. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tweet, I need an editor.
Right.
Couldn't do that back then. You know what I'm saying? You could not do that. And if you did, it was big money and you wouldn't be able to have it in a day. Even now, you can't have things in a day.
That's true.
So I'm always somebody, even back then, if I want something done, I'm going to do it myself.
Yep.
That's the only way to guarantee that it gets done.
And cameras were pretty expensive. I mean, the flip was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So if you were going to get an HD camera back then, I don't even know if YouTube handles HD. All right, sign of the week. It is a cool Broski sign, but in the picture, Vince is clearly pointing right at it.
This is one of those times where I hate looking back and with regret, because I don't want to say I regret it, but this is one of the times where I wish I would have went to Vince and been like, hey man, like what's the deal? Well, what's going on? I'm trying I'm doing this YouTube show. It's clearly working. I'm just trying to get on the show. I'm just trying to get an opportunity, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't. I could have been, see, you saw the sign.
Yeah.
And he points to it. It's not like he doesn't acknowledge it.
Yep. 100%.
Missed opportunity on my part.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying bye to the woo 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 headbands and say hello to the Broski headbands available. Well, actually not anywhere. So you kind of explain why.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. Woo woo woo. We could not get on a shirt because you can't just put whatever you want on a shirt. Even now through the Major Wrestling podcast, like I am very aware of stuff like that. I always get things trademarked before we do things for so many reasons. A, I want to protect our stuff. B, I don't want to put something out there and then someone says, I own this, and then you have to pay them all this money.
Right.
So WWE, their legal team they know what they're doing. So woo, woo, woo cannot be put on any merchandise. So my headband was woo, woo, woo. So if we can't make a woo, woo, woo headband, Broski headband, sure. Compromise, whatever. And then, of course, it becomes Broski for the next year or so. Mm-hmm. So as I kind of explained, I knew what the shirt was going to be. I knew what the headband was going to be. So now I had my gear guy put all those logos from that merch onto my gear. So when I came out, it was one big package.
That's great.
So everything synced up.
Yeah.
And I'm still that way to this day. I have logos, and you could change the colors. You can swap out the logos, but they all have the same feel, and they're on my merch. They're on the mic flat, whatever. It's part of the brand, and I hate using that word, but it's the truth.
The word's great. It's a perfect word. All right, good explanation. Here we go. It's the return of our friend Kurt Hawkins, who left you high and dry at Lariato Pro.
Before that, I also found on my old school computer all the original, I guess I had a file called ZTLAS files. So every lower third, every logo, every nameplate was in that folder. I still have it. So if we ever do that reunion episode, I want to use those exact files.
Hell yeah. Perfect. So Kurt Hawkins is there, and he says he wasn't on Raw or Superstars. So he figured that the only show he could get on is Z Trill Island Story if he steals your flip camera, and he's walking around, and he's talking. He's having some fun, and then what's happening when he turns the corner? There is Broski and Scott Stanford in a precarious position.
Well, I mean, Scott Stanford is on his knees. It looks like he's kind of hopping back and forth. Your imagination is running wild. But what's he doing? He's just scanning the QR code on my trunks. Takes you right to the web.
Whose idea was this? Was Brian's idea?
Mine.
Okay. And you were like,
I thought it was great. Still to this day, I think it's great.
oh, that popped me huge.
So great.
Is Brian like, yes, 100%, or is Brian like, oh man?
Definitely was for it. I don't know if I asked him to do it or he asked to be on. I don't remember. I think around this time he tried starting his YouTube show.
This early?
Someone fact check that.
Oh, well, he did the episode about Edge, and Edge already retired at this point.
Oh, so then he did it. That's probably his second episode. He does like one episode where it's a little bitter.
Right.
Hey, listen, I don't blame anybody for trying.
Right. Well, great little thing. He's scanning.
Yeah,
the
it was
QR
cool,
code.
and it got a couple things. Get Stanford on, right?
Perfect.
It's funny. Gets Brian on, ties in the Edgehead thing, right? Remembering the roots. Gets over the new merch, the QR code. It gets so many things over in one segment.
Right. Chiappetta up next. He's the newest reporter for Z True Long Island Story. He's got a microphone.
As you can see, cool. that's his real bedroom. You can see like all the 8x10s that he really has of me in his room. And that wasn't a real working microphone. That was like a Jax microphone with printed out logos. And the reason behind him being the reporter interview or whatever is because I knew he could be like, okay, we already for the past couple weeks were using him when I wasn't around. He'd be great. So now like you know who he is. He has a role, and it makes sense if he's on.
Perfect.
I don't think he ever ends up like reporting anything. I think, but whatever. In theory, it was fine.
Yes. But
We
at
went to a
least he's
weird
on the
Big O
payroll
picture of him flexing, which is, I don't know why. I think I just wanted to have him on the show somehow.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. And it was so fast, you could barely see it. Am I nuts? No Vankman and Ziggler?
I didn't see it. Somebody fact check that.
Yeah, I did not see it, and makes me think that maybe last week's cartoon was so badass. Maybe
that was the finale.
Yeah, it was so cool. You say you're not in either ladder match at Money in the Bank, but if you were, this is what would happen. So you show footage from that year's video game of you winning the Money in the Bank ladder, ladder match, you fall down, and you're celebrating. The music plays.
Yeah, I don't know if
you played it, or
I don't know if I played it, or maybe I might have. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I asked somebody to get it for me, because how else would I get that footage? I might have asked THQ to do it. I don't know.
Wow.
That's funny. That gear that I'm wearing in the video game is a one-time wear. I wore it against Christian on ECW, which makes me think that that's like not the current video game, because if it's 2011, maybe it is. Maybe that's a 2000. No, I don't know. They're always like a weird year behind.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, I was wrestling Christian on ECW, and he was just covered in fake tanner and destroyed the gear.
Oh, man.
But I still have it.
Yeah. All right, the Broski of the Week next is Kevin. Who knows? I don't know Kevin what, but he's talking about the new evolution of man called Bromo Sapien. And then he says there's a new TV show, Beverly Hills 90210 Bro, and then he said he's working out, dude, on his Broflex.
Awesome segment. This is like, if you're me in 2011 and you're checking for Broski of the Week, you're like, oh, thank God, this is perfect.
Exactly.
Sometimes you're like, all right, well, I got to use something. But this is the perfect one. It was great.
Yeah,
it really got the point across and the feel of the show across.
Yep. Put some time into it and really kind of like did something that Stanford would do, really.
Yeah.
Then you say, then there's a little did you know? Did you know Zack Ryder has only one match on Raw in 2011, but Z True has over 3 million views on YouTube. Source, YouTube.
So this is WWE. I think they still do these did you know segments.
Yes.
To this day, something similar. But usually when they do it, it's like ridiculous facts that don't make sense. Like WWE was the number one rated show at this time between this age group.
Yeah.
On this chat, it's like ridiculous. But this was actually true.
Yes.
I wasn't making up information. I really had 3 million views on the YouTube show and was on Raw once. It's like, guys, come on.
Hell yeah.
And that was true.
Yeah.
I bet it was my way of like being funny about it, but also being like, let's go.
Mm-hmm. And then you talk about making Sports Illustrated Twitter influencer list, and you made it over Cena, Rock, and The Miz. What was
this
the
was
deal
a
with
big
this?
deal.
And,
This was a huge deal to me.
yeah.
I think even in retrospect, it's a huge deal. I would love to find the original tweet. Did I tweet it last week? Maybe I tweeted it last week. I'm not quite sure.
I didn't see it in the tweets.
What's that?
I didn't see it in the tweets.
Yeah, so I don't know when I tweeted, but that's a huge deal. Being the only wrestler on the top 100 Sports Illustrated, that's a huge deal.
Right.
So if Sports Illustrated is recognizing me, the only wrestler, and WWE isn't, it was just fueling the fire. And I wasn't complaining about it. I was just like putting it over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then in an all-time segment, all effing time, performances from everyone here, top notch. Your dad is in a car, in his coat.
That's right.
He's spying into some house, and you realize it's Morrison and Melina's house, and they're just kind of like, whatever, interacting. And then Melina catches him and yells, "John, there's a pervert out here." And then it cuts to your dad, and he speeds away. This is hilarious. Your dad is like a cartoon watching it. Right? Like his facials and everything.
So good.
Melina, obviously, they're performers. They're great.
Right. I don't know why their footage was so blurry.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were using like a Razor flip phone.
Because usually like John's stuff is like top notch. So maybe like it was too top notch and I didn't know how to upload it properly or something.
Oh, possibly. Back then,
yeah,
your different file formats.
Or like
that.
Sometimes if you would email files, it would like, even to this day, you can't email files. Really.
Oh, it would shrink it down. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So they filmed that for you. So great dudes. But here's my question. And I think I asked this, but I have to.
No, my dad was not in California for that.
I know that. Yes. But he's a cop.
Right.
He does not care at all at this point.
Doesn't give a F.
All right. I know plenty of cops. I know wrestlers who are cops who specifically wear masks because
sure,
I don't know, they want to be recognized or whatever.
This was just continuing the storyline.
Right.
And it was keeping me on my toes. How many ways could I keep this going? And I keep it going all the way till Morrison's death.
So you come up with some idea like this. You might be in the shower. You might be driving. Somebody might bring it up. Something like that, right?
Sometimes I wish that I cared like about finances as much as I care about like creative stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because my mind is just always working. It's always racing. Whether it be, for instance, like right now we have Live 9 coming up and FWF 2. And that's all I'm thinking about. Like in the gym, before I go to sleep, it's like all I think about. It consumes me. And I think that's why, not that everything I do is successful, because trust me, it's not. But everything I do has my attention and my effort and like everything I have poured into it. And I think at least that, if anything, success or not, that's, obvious.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I don't half-ass anything.
All right, episode 22 in the books there. Before we finalize this show, let's hit a word from our sponsors. And we're back! Broski, are you serious, bro?
Are you serious, bro?
All right, the Are You Serious Bro tweet of the week. Just tweet me something, and if it pops me, well, use the hashtag Are You Serious Bro. If it pops me, I'll send you one of those 8x10s. This is from Downtown Chaz Brown at the Matt Cardona. Wrote the bonus forward in I Am Jericho's second book, but they spell his name wrong in the newest one. Come on, Alex Marvez. Are you serious, bro? In the list of Jericho, we talked about this on the Major Wrestling podcast. I have defeated Jericho before. It's in the list of Jericho. March 28th, New York City, but they spell it the way I hate. Z-A-C-H. So.
Well, you probably just wrote it down.
And Jericho
quickly.
only gave that match 2 and 3/4 stars. Are you serious, bro?
Jeez, are you serious, bro?
It was a quick little match.
All right, the Know Your Bro segment is what?
Yeah, so just use the hashtag Know Your Bro and ask a question about the upcoming episode. So in this case, episode 23. And then Mark will surprise me with the question. And if I answer it on air, I will send you an 8x10. So not a lot, 8x10s.
All right. Great question here. Bartski at MajorKoi03. He's following the directions. Like, this is a perfect question about this week's episode and expanding more, right?
Okay.
Hashtag know your bro. New headband alert. So here's his first question. Who designed your gear back in the day? And did gear designs have to be approved before they were worn in the ring or shown on TV?
At that point, I'm using, I believe it's called Main Event Gear.
Okay.
Now, and even before that, I use Rick Michaels and Global WrestleWear. Who designs it? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, who designs it? Who makes it? Yeah.
I mean,
so you had a different designer.
Usually it's me in my head, scribble, and then the finished product comes back. Now I have TTD.
Yeah.
TTD and me, we're like cross fingers, as Rocky would say.
Yeah.
We get each other. I explain, I sketch, and he like brings my vision to life. Minor tweaks sometimes. Usually gets it, hits the nail on the head. Minor tweaks though, if anything. And that's just how I operate. I'm very creative. I'm not very artistic. Do you need to show it to anybody on TV? If it's, listen, unless it's like some like giant change or something crazy, my answer would be no. I would never ask, you know?
But you did get in trouble for like the Ghostbusters one once, right?
I got in trouble. We'll get it. Well, I don't know if we'll ever get to that part, but I do get in trouble for wearing Ghostbusters gear once. And then a classic story of before WrestleMania 35, WWE's like, all right, everyone has to send in their gear to get approved. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to send in my gear. Like, I'm in this jabroni Andre the Giant battle royal. I'm going to send in my gear. No way. Like, I'm going to get the gear I want to wear. Brian, of course, is like, yeah, well, I had TT. It looks professional. That's the Jets. I'm going to send it in. And guess what? They denied it. So now he has his gear like 2 weeks before Mania. I, of course, didn't even send it in because they don't care about my gear. They don't care. Yeah. Long story short, we go in to talk to Vince McMahon. We pitch to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or that Brian does. And that, you know, this is the middle of his losing streak. We say, hey, we're in New York, our hometown, the losing streak. Let it come down to us two, and I'll, like, sacrifice myself. Like, come on, hit me. And they'll clothesline me over. Big pop, blah, blah, blah. Vince was not having it, which is cool.
By the way, my favorite part of this story is that you guys basically pitched, let me win the belt. That's what you guys pitched. I love it.
In theory, but
it's great.
I don't regret it one bit. Anyway, And then Brian pitches or kind of, you know, tells Vince, like, listen, what's wrong with my Jets gear? First of all, I was shocked that Vince even knew who he was talking about, but he did. And he explained, like, hey, it's Jets. They're both underdogs. He's an underdog. Jets are underdog. Hometown crowd. Family's going to be there. And Vince just said, okay, wear it. We leave. Whatever. We're just going to be in this jabroni battle royal. No big deal. At least we're wearing the gear we want to wear. A couple of days later, we get a phone call from John Cone saying, you're wrestling Revival for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I have to believe it's because we went in there and talked to Vince McMahon. Now, every time you talk to Vince McMahon, is something great going to happen? Absolutely not. But it's proof that it does happen sometimes. And it makes me wonder, well, what if I would have happened so many times? Or what if I would have went in a couple of times earlier on, like the time we just talked about the sign?
Yeah.
But you can't live in regret, right?
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Love that story. And it obviously worked out well for you guys.
Yeah, we won the titles. WrestleMania, hometown, great moment. Just didn't get any Mattel figures. That's okay.
Yeah. All right, characters debuted, none, but returning, Dad, Hawkins, Melina, Morrison, Chi, Big O, and Stanford, and I think that's going to be the norm going forward. 225,184 views here, 3 minutes and 51 seconds. I looked at it, I thought, like, oh, short episode, which it was, but to be honest, a lot of little segments. You packed in a lot in that 351.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
And I think the big difference is there's no 3.5 minute Stanford segment.
Yeah.
To make it a 6 minute show.
And then at the end, I have like me just walking around with the Money in the Bank briefcase from the video game, like just extra footage.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I am wearing this cool Ric Flair limited shirt from Foot Locker, Foot Action. You guys had shirts like this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Limited edition.
Yeah, pretty cool. ProWrestlingTees.com/MajorWF Pod. That's where you can find shirts about this store. This show and all the Major Pod Network shirts. ProWrestlingTees.com/Matt Cardona for Matt shirts. ProWrestlingTees.com/SmartMarkSterling for my shirts. Thank you very much for the Brawlers. And what else do we got to plug?
Guys, MattCardonaMerch.com. Got, the old sunglasses are up there, 8x10s, retro figures, so much cool stuff. ProWrestlingTees.com/MattCardona, like you said. We have Live 9 coming up in Kowloon. So much history in that building. That's literally where we found out the Edge Heads was actually happening. Edge told us in secret in the bathroom. And now all these years later, we're coming back for a live show. I don't want to plug it because it's already sold out. Sold out in minutes, thanks to you guys. Guys, keep spreading the word about this show. It's a lot of fun. And patreon.com/major WF pod if you want these early and ad-free.
Yeah.
And there's so much other cool content if you love wrestling figures and the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. We just did a bonus episode this past week where Brian and I talk about our first year on the road.
Yeah.
A little Q&A retrospective episode. So check that out. And guys, if you work for Facebook, that girl that Papa Bear Paul set me up with, she ghosted me. I guess she couldn't get it done. So please, I'm trying to get my Facebook page back so I can finally say like me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Buy all the merch. Drink some PBR. Oh, by the way, the Major PBR Forever, the commercial is out there.
Check it out.
Check that out, guys. And take care. Spike your hair.
Just